Jack is an Abbott, Billy's gone to rehab, and Nick is not going to give up on Sharon. Stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Goodman. I'm here with another week of Restless Wrap. So, as I started off with, Jack is actually an Abbott, and we've been predicting this all along, so I just wanted to start off the top of the show by announcing that, because we've all been wondering what this has all been about, and the thing is, we'll discuss this. Why don't we discuss this first? Because a huge thing this week was everything going on with Jabot. But before we get into our segments, I just want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat. We've got at Hubby Joe, Simone, Rainy J, and Honey Smile 320. Thank you all for joining. Alan McLaurin left a comment on last week's show, just saying great show. So thank you, Alan. It's cool that you left a a comment. Duleman's here, saying, hey, Rachel, hey, Duleman. And Simone Francois says, can you believe actually did it? And that's perfect for our segue into all this about Jabot. So let's kind of go back and rewind and get back to the beginning of the week. Phyllis, so just as a recap for anyone who missed the week before, the big blow up was everything that happened with the wedding. Actually standing on the altar, Sharon found out about Nick cheating with Phyllis right before she got married, right before she was about to get married to Nick. On the altar, she announced that she couldn't do it because of this cheating and this infidelity. And after that, Billy, who had just proposed, basically pushed Phyllis away. So at the top of this week, that's kind of where we left off. Phyllis is she walked into Jabot at the beginning of the week like she was going to a funeral. Like she didn't want to be seen. Everyone was commenting on it as, I think it was Ashley, Lauren, Tracy. They're trying to figure out what to do with Jabot at this point because at the beginning of the week, Tracy was CEO at the beginning of the week. But soon enough, as everything's happening with Jabot, they call a meeting. Jack gets involved. Kyle's involved at this point. Phyllis is involved. They try, Kyle, kind of in a conniving way, decides that he probably has the most favor with Jack winning. So he pulls Jack aside and says, hey, why don't you try and get Jabot back? Why don't you try to become the next CEO? So Jack tries. He doesn't get the votes like he thought he was going to get. And Tracy, she ended up not voting for anyone. Her vote could have swayed things in Jack's favor if she had voted for him. But otherwise, the vote, it came out where Ashley won, and Ashley became CEO. So going into this, as Ashley gets this position, we immediately start seeing this Andrew guy again. We don't really know what is going on with him. We don't know how he's involved with Ashley. They don't tell us until the end of the week when this big reveal happens. But as we're kind of leading into it, we know that he's shady. He tries to, I don't know what he was trying to do with Kyle. It sounded like it was blackmail. Like, if you don't, you better get Ashley to talk to me, or I'm going to, I have things on your family that might come out and it might be bad. So it sounded like he was kind of blackmailing Kyle or threatening him. We see him meeting with Ashley a couple of times. We see Ashley basically telling him, hey, there's no, you're not going to threaten me. It's not going to work. And all we know is that this Andrew guy works for a shell company. I think they were calling it, let's see. I have the name here. It was oh, here we go. Type A was this shell company that Andrew apparently worked for. The other thing that they did that I thought was actually really good and a good way to kind of, I don't want to say foreshadow because we didn't really know that his meeting with Phyllis was going to tie into anything. But earlier in the week, Phyllis bumps into this Andrew guy and she admits that she, not admits, but they just have this conversation that they know each other from New York. You kind of get a sense that, obviously they worked together, so they're in the same department. You don't really get an idea. You don't really know exactly anything more than that, but you know enough to know that later on, as we learn more about Andrew, Ashley tries Jack and Kyle organize this new meeting, and they bring Ashley in with this Andrew guy, and basically they just want answers. They want to figure out what's going on, why Ashley owes money to this guy, and why she just randomly stopped paying him. Ashley's trying to play it off like it's contract work and that it had nothing to do with anything other than that, and it was nothing bad. Jack legitimately is concerned for her because he thinks that there's some kind of, this guy is basically blackmailing her and the family because of something else, that it's not her fault. So he thinks something's going on. I think Kyle had an idea that everything going on with this Andrew guy had to do with maybe something with Billy, but he wasn't sure either. And they were kind of all blocked out from this. So Kyle's interesting because he tried to get that COO position, and Ashley was like, nope, not going to happen. Not exactly. Just because she couldn't trust him. And Kyle just keeps going back and forth between trying to, work with Jack and trying to get that COO position with Ashley. Finally, during this meeting that I think Kyle sort of called with everyone else on the board, finally, Ashley tries to explain this Andrew guy off as saying that she's working on some secret pharmaceutical product, and that had to do with benefiting people who I guess could get cancer, and it was supposed to help prevent it. And it made it sound like a good cause. Everyone was basically buying it until Phyllis walked in, and she goes, "Oh, hey, Andrew." And because of the fact that they know each other, and Phyllis knows that he doesn't work in pharmaceuticals, so she blew his cover without even really meaning to. Just her being there, her walking in late, happened to blow his cover. So basically, after that, they go back and forth. Ashley tries to argue it again. Phyllis says, well, wait, if you're in pharmaceuticals, that doesn't make sense because I thought you were in DNA. And then when Phyllis said DNA and when that started coming out, finally, me and hubby Joe looked at each other and we were like, yeah, they're saying he's involved with DNA for a reason. This whole thing with Jabot going back to Jack being, ousted from Jabot because he was not a blood Abbott has to do with Ashley, doesn't it? And as this kind of plot unraveled, Jack started saying, I think Jack was kind of getting it before Ashley even told him the truth. So Jack was basically telling this Andrew guy, okay, I'm going to pay you off. Whatever she's paying you, I'll double it. Tell me the truth. And Ashley finally says, no. And this is in front of everyone at this meeting. No. You don't have to pay him. I'll tell you for free. And that's where she admits that he, as in Jack Abbott, is an Abbott. And this whole mess where Jabot has been going from, Billy to Tracy to Ashley and has been a very unstable company. And including the whole thing where Tracy gets in and revokes the blood Abbott clause. All of this started with Ashley back when she took samples of Jack's DNA, sent it for testing, and discovered that he was not a blood Abbott. It is all thanks to this Andrew guy who apparently tampered with the DNA. So Ashley says to Jack, you've been John Abbott's son all along. So on that note, let's check in with the chat. Let's see. Hubby Joe says, oh, here we go. Rainy J, Jack getting mad are the best scenes ever. Yeah, he has a very unique expression whenever he's either contemplating something or angry or just, looking irritated. He's very good at playing that. Hubby Joe, Ashley with the double cross. Doolaman, I'm sorry, I'm Team Ashley. Jack was an A to her. And that's true, he was. It's just I never would have imagined that Ashley would do this. It came as a shock to me. I almost said surprise. Yeah. It came as a shock to me that Ashley did this because we didn't have any other kind of hints or clues. And I kind of like that it happened this way because it still makes sense. It's just interesting that this old former plot point. I mean, the whole thing with Jack searching for his father, that was ongoing, but everything, basically the catalyst, which was Ashley and Tracy sending in the DNA, and I think Abby was involved too. The catalyst Ashley's involvement just seemed to kind of disappear. So it was really just Jack going around in circles trying to figure out whose biological father was. All of this from Jack, and it's Ashley all along, just trying to get her way into Jabot. Simone, I thought it was Abby, but Ashley doing it is bonkers. After soothing Jack and telling everyone how worried she's about him, Hubby Joe says hashtag new cool Kyle. Charlene, why isn't Jack CEO? And that's the thing, is that he was CEO and he had that blood Abbott clause in there. I think what it was, and speaking of, not understanding why Ashley did this, when she was dealing with everything with Jack and, everything going on with how much that blood Abbott clause hurt her, I really feel like this is something Ashley could do because she was very hurt by what happened back then. The fact that she told Jack the truth doesn't surprise me either because she probably feels bad. And we heard her talking to Neil saying, I haven't always done the best things to get to this position. So we know she feels bad. It was still a shock that she did this because normally they will at least show something being done. They'll show some kind of hint that, Jack really is an Abbott. But all of us here, we were kind of discussing that and how we kind of think that it really was. Like, we were thinking all along that he was still an Abbott. We just didn't think that Ashley had anything to do with this, DNA situation. Simone says, I think Kyle was sincere when he voted for his father. He thought Ashley was making him COO. Yeah, he maybe did, but the thing is that maybe he wasn't 100% certain if Ashley would do that or not. And he knew that Jack would definitely make him COO without question of a doubt. So I feel like he kind of figured he had more leverage with his dad than Ashley, just because he's his son. Charlene, was Billy on at all this week? What happened after him in Summer? Okay, so the thing with Billy, I didn't see him at all. And we're going to get to that in a second. We could do that as our next segment. Billy, we saw him in like the this is what happened last week portion, like right before they started showing the episodes. He did sleep with Summer, as I think most of us know. Then we don't really know, like at the beginning of the week, he just kind of ghosted her and left without telling her where he was going. And then we found out that he was in rehab. So I think that Phyllis said he checked into rehab and told Summer, and that's how we found out. Honey Smile 320, I found it really interesting that Andrew and Phyllis had some sort of relationship 25 years ago. Did they, and if anyone has the answer to this, I'd love to know, did they have a relationship or was it just that they knew each other like 20 years ago and that they were friends from working together? I didn't get that they were dating, but maybe I missed something. Let's see. Simone, Ashley was so good. Her concern for poor Jackie, and she is jerking him around the entire time. She even held strong when Jack told her how proud he was of her. Ashley played everyone. Yeah, she did. She was really good, and I actually enjoyed this twist. It seemed very authentic to me. And we have another comment here. Matthew Kennedy, great surprise. Didn't know Ashley could be so mean. Yeah. And then Doolman, I think this is commenting to what I said about Ashley, how she was so hurt about the blood Abbott clause. Doolman, she was hurt. It devastates her that she isn't an Abbott. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that when Ashley and Jack were having those discussions months ago at this point, I don't think Jack meant to hurt her, but he did. And I think it hurt her so badly that she was absolutely capable of doing this, because in her mind, she was probably doing what, like she probably felt like she probably felt, awful that she wasn't an Abbott, and Jack did kind of, without meaning to, rub it in her face. But it just hurt her so bad that she had to do something about it. I see another, Rainy J says Team Jack all day. I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm Team Jack too. I'd like to see him back on there as CEO. He knows that company. That is pretty much his baby, so to speak. Obviously, Ashley wanted it. I think when Candace was in the chat a couple weeks ago, and she was saying how Eileen Davidson or Eileen Davis, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Her last show should be October 18th, is what she had said. So I'm curious what's going to happen. This obviously is enough to drive her away. I'm wondering if she's going to be shunned from Genoa City now because this is such a huge deal. And I'm curious if Jack will just end up getting Jabot and then reinstating the Blood Abbott clause. That would be, kind of hilarious, but we'll see what happens. All of this for nothing, and he's an Abbott after all that. A couple more comments here, and then we'll move on to our next segment. Duleman, right, but he thought he was. He threw that. Oh yeah, but he thought he was. He threw that clause in her face. Okay, yeah, they're talking about whether or not Jack was actually an Abbott. So, all right. And then one more question here. Matthew Kennedy says, what about Ashley's relationship with her daughter? More aftermath is going to be juicy. It will be, because to get Abby's perspective on this, Abby, who's not biologically an Abbott and is just biologically a Newman, it will be very interesting to get her perspective on this whole situation, because here's another thought too. Now that Blood Abbott clause has been removed, Abby could theoretically become CEO one day of Jabot. So could Kyle. Well, okay, Kyle, as we now know, Kyle could either way because he's a Blood Abbott. But it will be really interesting to see what they do with this. Speaking of interesting things, since you guys are huge fans of Y&R, I just want to let you know that AfterBuzz actually produces after shows for other TV shows as well, not just Y&R. We have everything from drama, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans, but we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. You can even, this one, Y&R, is on AfterBuzz TV Drama, so you can go and subscribe right now to that one. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about notifications, don't worry, because they are definitely optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know that you did so, and I will be sure to mention you live on the air and give you a shout out for subscribing. So, on that note, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. We touched on Jabot. We were kind of talking about Billy a little bit, who was kind of MIA this week. So let's go ahead and touch on him. Before I do that, let me open up the phone lines if anyone wants to call in. The number is 424-354-8302. If you are listening live right now, so it is October 14th, 2018 at about 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can call 424-354-8302. We are going to take calls. And so moving along, let's talk about JA. Rachel, can people call in? Yes, they can. So go ahead. If you are listening live, you can call in right now. Let's talk about Billy and Summer. Michelle Harris, need better writing. Yeah, some of the plots I definitely agree. Michelle, I think my comment on that is, what really bugs me is sometimes the dialogue, and this is kind of a random thought, but the characters, all of them, tend to love using the word collude. Victor, Ashley did it this week. In my life, I've never heard anyone actually use the word collude, colluding with someone. Never heard an actual person saying that to another person unless I'm reading it in prose, but not actually in dialogue. We have a caller. Thanks for calling in. Who's on the line?
Hi, Rachel. This is Brittany. Hi.
Hey, Brittany. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So I was just about to get into Summer, Billy, Phyllis. Okay, let's just jump in here. Billy has ghosted pretty much everyone at this point, but specifically Summer. He slept with her and left. Do you think, what do you think's going to happen when he comes back?
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
She deserved it. It's disgusting. She knew what was going to come with sleeping with Billy.
Yeah.
And she actually knew this before sleeping with it. She kept narrating as this is going to happen. So I don't feel bad for her. I cannot wait for this week to see how Phyllis is going to react because
Yeah.
God only knows. I can't wait.
I feel like with Summer, first of all, the way she was talking to Kyle, like, oh yeah, Billy's basically my fiance now. I mean, she didn't say that, but she was just acting like they were so tight, like they were definitely an item, that they were gonna continue together. He slept with her, obviously, just to, I mean, it was so, everything about it was so obvious. She's not a dumb, like, she's not a dumb person. She understands what he was doing, probably. And I don't even get why she likes him. There was really no chemistry. They just had a regular, just a normal exchanges back and forth. There was nothing special about it. So she's got to be pretty stupid to think that it meant anything more to him. And it was kind of crazy the way she kept messaging him like that.
You gotta kind of remember that she's still Phyllis's daughter, and she's carrying a lot of like the early Phyllis sort of traits where she's very restless. She has to have what she wants, and it's usually some sort of like emotional bottom line with her. It's more than evident that she has an issue with Phyllis. I think Summer really wants some sort of like relationship. She's been divorced, I think, like twice, or she's had like a serious relationship and she was divorced, and it was heartbreaking for her. And she wants to see some sort of example that she can have some sort of that happiness.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she doesn't see it in her dad, obviously, because he's a cheater. And then she doesn't see it in her mom, just seeing how she's kind of broken up people's marriages and relationships and never carries that responsibility onto herself, which is exactly what Summer's mirroring.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And it's clear, like even when she talks to Phyllis, it's clear that she has not forgiven her, that there is a lot of trauma and baggage from just her watching this as a child. So I obviously I wasn't watching when Phyllis was, doing these things, but I can see that Summer is, like you were saying, mirroring everything. And it is, like, I feel like it is just like we're watching young Phyllis, except, this is Summer and she's stealing her mom's boyfriend. Well, not really stealing, because this time he did come to her. So do you, I will be curious to see what happens when Billy actually comes back. Do you think he's going to stay with Summer, or do you think he's going to get back with Phyllis?
I think he's going to get a little bit of clarity when he goes to rehab, and he's going to try to go back after Phyllis, but Summer will be pregnant. But Phyllis is going to find out about the affair before he comes out. And I think that something she's going to either try to move past, or she's going to try to move on with possibly Jack, which I'm like, my fingers are crossed for that. I really want Phyllis and Jack to get back together.
Yeah.
But
that's what
I think he's going to go after Phyllis. He's going to admit to his mistake, but I think Summer's going to be pregnant.
Yeah.
As a result of this.
Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. So good to talk to you. Hi, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great week.
You too. Bye.
Okay, so let's touch a little bit more on Summer and Billy, and then we'll move on to our next segment. I'm thinking we should definitely talk about everything happening with Sharon and Nick, so we'll touch on that after this. Just to touch in with check in with the chat here. Rainy J, starting to get Fatal Attraction vibes from Summer. Kenneth Clark, I'm loving Sharon and Ray. Sharon is my Shero. That's funny. Doolaman, what's the number? If you want to call in live, that number is 424-354-8302. And we have a caller. Thanks for calling in. Who do we have on the line?
Hey, Rachel, it's Mel from Brooklyn.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
So we were just talking about Summer and Billy. I think we should maybe touch on everything happening with Kyle and Lola too. And if you have any thoughts on that, or even your thoughts on, what's going to happen, how do you see everything turning out for Summer, I guess, is my first question for you.
Well, first off, it's such a pleasure calling. I remember I saw a little bit last week too. I've been so busy. This first of this week, the Young Restless has been on fire these past couple of weeks, I have to say. And with everything that happened with Summer, even the past couple of months, I think going all the way up to the conclusion that she wanted to get in bed with Billy, when she finally got it, it was sad. It wasn't it sad? It was very sad because he was using her, and I don't know, just the way they played it was very sad. It was a very sad situation. I was just shocked how I felt these weird emotions for a soap opera. So that was sad. But I think that Kyle is he's so smart, and I think that the fact that he can recognize that this woman is so toxic, basically. I mean, even her interaction with his new, his kind of new girlfriend. I actually like the new woman that Kyle's with because she's like a breath of fresh air. What you see is what you get. She's spicy. She won't take nobody's crap. She takes pride in her work, and I like that Kyle sees that. But I think that what I think was going to happen is I think that someone's going to be very embarrassed of this moment, this very sad, depressing moment that she had with Billy. And I think that out of revenge, when he comes back and he takes him after Phyllis again, I think that she is going to be pregnant. So I think that she's going to either drug or try to seduce Kyle so that way he can pass off as his and mess up his new relationship and also get revenge on Billy. I think that's where they're going with this because I think they did this a couple of times on different shows. So I think that's sort of what's happening. But I just want to say, just in general, I think that Summer, Ashley, and I'm trying to think of somebody else who's doing this. Summer, Ashley, Phyllis, and I will say Victoria probably. They are really reclaiming the word in a good way, reclaiming the word of the B, the B word, because they are. I think that in 2018, it's hard for audiences with so many channels to really get invested and even care if somebody's being mean or being, manipulative or whatever it is. And the way these actresses are playing it and the way they're writing it, it's very entertaining. You could be at a doctor's office or you can see on your computer and you sort of get into it because of what they're doing. For me, it's hard to really get into the heyday of when people being that way, but it's really entertaining. And I think, I know you even touched on the Ashley. I think that into the promos, I didn't see I was totally shocked.
So was
Shocked. I was beyond shocked. I said, oh, my God. I mean, but, so the way that they're playing it, the old women, are doing good jobs, and they all playing with high stakes. Everybody's playing life or death, really, right now. And it's entertaining, but it's very deep and sad and all these emotions. But it's good actresses. Oh, but what I want to say before I go, Mariah. Of all the people on the show, I love this woman so much. I love her so much, and she grew on me because I didn't at the beginning, but her devotion to her mother, and that she can stand up not only to Summer but also Phyllis and hold her own. And I hope that her girlfriend, whatever happened with her girlfriend, that's revealed before the end of the year. Because I know with all the stuff that the actress has done this year, if she gets a real good closing, she might be up for any. I mean, she's fantastic. I love her so much.
So the thing that you said about the women playing off of each other and reinventing the B word, you could really see that when they brought back the four women with the whole JT storyline with Sharon and Phyllis, and how obviously they don't even want to be in the same room at this point, but just the way that the four women were playing off each other, and they obviously all have deep, really crappy histories, but I loved how in that moment when they were in the coffee shop and they were talking about those notes they were getting, how everyone, so Nikki, Victoria, and Sharon, you could feel that the three of them kind of understood how bad Sharon would feel to find out that Nick and Phyllis had been sleeping together. And I was just like, okay, suddenly I actually liked Nikki and Victoria more than I did before. seeing them, like, even though they didn't really say anything, I think they did defend her at one point, but you could just feel the energy, and they didn't even need dialogue. You could just feel how they were kind of feeling toward Phyllis. And
Yeah,
just without, like, just the way that they played that was brilliant.
yeah, and I also think you brought up a good point with that with the four of them. I know I probably one of my friends and everybody's favorite show was Big Little Lies. It was an HBO. I think I said the right term.
Yeah.
The HBO program, right?
Yeah,
About
yeah,
secret
Big
show.
Little Lies.
Okay, so I think that I'm thinking why not probably playing a little bit with that sort of idea of women getting together and this big secret, but it could be a little goofy, a little campy, whatever. But I thought what was smart was that they do a bomb, like you just said, a bomb into this little situation. I mean, they already have a secret of a dead body and domestic abuse and all that deep stuff, and over the months it sort of was whatever. And then Sharon and Phyllis sort of revitalized it and said, you know what, we are not really friends. They reminded the audience, even though we're together and we're being hokey and all this kind of stuff, let's hokey for a moment. They reminded the audience, we're not friends. We are together because of this situation. And I think that Sharon and Phyllis going full throttle into the enemy role while they're still connected with the secret I thought was a brilliant little twist. Because, they could all just went up into the sunset and said, be all friends and all whatever, but it wouldn't have been a opera.
Yeah.
Them showing how much and also have to deal with the secret. I thought it was very good little twists on this thing that they're doing, and how they're playing is interesting too. Because it was getting a little sweet for a moment, and we still get friends, and it shows Phyllis. She doesn't have any excuse anymore. I mean, even when the other woman played her, she always said, the woman always against me. Nobody likes me, understands me. And this time, she had true friendships with four women. And even then, when there was nothing against her, she still ruined it by having, a secret affair with a person she's hiding a secret with and she's building a friendship with. Sharon truly was trying to be friends with a woman who had an affair and a baby, with her husband years ago. And so she turned the leaf, and then she did it again. So nobody is to blame for Phyllis not having friendships with women besides Phyllis. And unfortunately, of course, the beautiful, I'm sorry, I forgot her name. I'm sorry. Devon's wife,
Hillary.
she died.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for calling in. It was it was definitely good talking about JT and all of this. I hope you have a great week.
I will. Thank you so much. I'm going to continue watching. I love you. I love the show. I love your observation, especially like you said, little pet peeve that you have. That's the best part.
Oh,
I like when you do that.
Awesome. I will definitely keep doing that.
Okay.
Have a great week. Bye. Okay, so let's touch a little bit more on everything happening with Sharon and Nick. I'll touch in with the chat really fast here. So Clex Ambers, aka Tiffany, has joined us. Hey, Tiffany. We have Matthew Kennedy. I think JT is alive. I hope he's alive. I've been hoping that since he died. We'll put that in quotes because JT may not be dead. And here's the thing. I know, like, they killed him and they buried him. It would take a lot of cunning and a lot of skill to get out of that situation, but they don't know for a fact. They are not doctors. They wouldn't know if he was actually dead or not. Charlene, I love Lola with Kyle. Duelman, here we go. Duelman's just agreeing with Matt about JT being alive. Rainy J, the way Ashley used Dina was wrong. Hashtag leave the elderly alone. Clex Ambers, I mean, Tessa definitely has motive to blackmail them, being blackmailed herself and all. But Noah, man, I just can't get over the timing of his return. Not to mention, there's still resentment there. Matthew Kennedy, how would Tessa find out their secret to be the only one who's sending the notes? That's interesting. So that is a good discussion. We have someone calling in. Thanks for joining. This is Rachel, who's on the line.
Hey, Rachel, it's Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany. So I was just reading your comment. Who do you think did it? Who do you think is sending these notes?
Okay, well, like I said, I've mentioned on multiple occasions how have 2 YNR talks that I listen to. I listen to one in the morning and then this one. And she, and a lot of other people are saying that it's Tessa, which it very well could be. I mean, Tessa does have the motive because of the people blackmailing her for Crystal and needing that money. But you know me, I'm here for Mariah and Tessa, and I don't want anything coming between that. So there's still a big part of me that's like, no,
Yeah.
not another thing. Please, Tessa, don't do another thing. You're good right now. You don't need to screw it up already. You're good. So that part of my brain's like, no, you know what? Noah came back. Noah's been gone for almost what? He's been gone for a good couple of months now.
Since the engagement party, yeah.
He comes back, and then suddenly there's this blackmailer. I just find it a little bit coincidental.
It is. It could be him, but then here's the thing. I don't know. I wasn't thinking it was Tessa. The only thing that was weird was that Tessa, when when Nick came to the coffee shop, I think it was an accident, but how Tessa was like, "Oh yeah, Sharon's upstairs with Ray." I was like, "Tessa, don't tell him that." But other than
I wonder sometimes if Tessa's just kind of like nicely put not all there all the time, or she purposely does it. I mean, for me, and honestly, whenever I first saw it, I was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit weird. Why are you having this conversation right now? Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's whenever they were at the athletic club and they were having drinks before Mariah went away for the week. And they were talking about how their relationship is so solid and nothing's going to happen. And they're just like, oh, crap.
Of course.
Something's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, maybe it was Tessa doing all this. I'm like, crap.
I mean, it's possible.
It's definitely Tessa.
I don't know. I feel like, what about Ray? Do you think that he could be the one behind all this?
You know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. I never trusted Arturo, and I don't trust Ray.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with Lola yet because I haven't been watching as much lately, but I definitely don't trust the brothers, so
yeah.
It's very much possible.
I kind of just think it's Ray. I think because he came into town, he was posting their pictures. He was trying to get to know the Newmans. He wanted Sharon to work with him so he could get to know her and get information from her. I have a feeling that it is him, but that it's going to come out. I think that Sharon and Ray are going to get together, and then it's going to come out, and then, of course, they're not going to stay together, and then eventually she'll get back with Nick. So those are my predictions.
I mean, hey, they are today's Nikki and Victor, so they're bound to get back together.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, the thing is that we know that Ray's a cop, and he's there investigating what happened to JT. The only question now is going to be, is he a good cop or a dirty cop? He's going to use it to get himself a bit of a boost in the finance department.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for...
But like I said, it could either be Ray, Noah, or Tessa at this point. So
you could be...
I'm hoping it's Noah, but it's probably Tessa, which just makes me kind of like, oh.
I'm hoping it's Ray, because that would just make everything easy. Just be Ray.
I think it would be interesting if it were Noah. He just comes back out of nowhere, and he's like, yeah, I'm trying to be supportive, but I kind of still hate you all, so...
Or it's JT, and he's alive, like other people were saying in the chat, and he's messing with them, and it's been him the whole time. That would be the best.
All I know is I am so beyond ready for the whole JT storyline to be done.
Yeah,
I don't care if he's alive. I don't care if he's dead. Just pick one and beat him with it, because this has been going all year now, and I'm just like... Yeah, this is kind of old now. I mean, it was old like 6 months ago, but
yeah. Well, thank you for calling in.
All right, it was nice getting to talk to you again.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll talk to you again later on Facebook or whatever.
Definitely, and I'm sure we'll talk next week too.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's see. Let's just quickly breeze through everything going on with Sharon and Nick. Basically, as we kind of touched on, Sharon went on a date with Ray. And, well, okay, let's backtrack. It wasn't officially a date, but you could tell that there was like some weird energy there, and that Ray only used his sister as kind of like an excuse to have her over when Sharon was like, oh, I'm not ready to be dating people. And then when Sharon goes over to Ray's house, Lola's there. They end up in this like whipped cream spraying contest, which I thought was really funny and part of the law moment. And then Nick comes to Crimson Lights. Tessa tells him that Sharon is upstairs with Ray. So Nick goes up, and Nick basically demanded, like, he visited her at her job. He tried to visit her, I think, at Crimson Lights. He went to, he went upstairs when she was with Ray, and he was just like, oh, this is more important? You being with him is more important than us? Sharon already told him, first of all, the fact that Nick was there with Phyllis in the club, and like he's allowed to do that, but she's not allowed to be upstairs with Ray and Lola after they've broken up. But Sharon's just been very clear that she does not want to be with Nick at this point. So his tactics, like he just has been just not handling this the right way if he's trying to win her back. So on that note, let's get to our law moment. I had, it was the Lola squirting the whipping cream on Ray at the dinner party and them getting into this huge whipping cream contest, kind of a contest. Other than that, just anytime we saw Nick angrily squinting in Sharon's direction, I don't know what that was all about. I mean, obviously he's annoyed because he doesn't have her, but that and the whipping cream, that's what won it for me. Let's check in with the chat really fast before we wrap up here. Okay, so Nita Smooches says, I don't trust Tessa. Honey Smile 320, I think Tessa is the one sending the letters. I think Nick secretly knows, and that's why he has Tessa working behind the scenes at Dark Horse. I think this is his way of pulling a Victor move. Nita Smooches, the Margarita ladies are always meeting up in the coffee house. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. You would think they would just go back to Victoria's. That would be the easiest thing. Simone, if Tessa is the spy, she probably thought, I need money, and I am just giving information. Who could it hurt? She is not the mastermind. Yeah, could be. Rainy J, notice Tessa hasn't been threatened lately because she's a liar. LOL. Could be, and that's the thing. We don't know everything going on with Tessa. We just don't know what her deal really is. And we were saying this before she got together with Mariah. I'm glad they're together. I am all for it, but I don't want them to break up, but I also don't know if I trust her. And even that scene when Noah walked into Crimson Lights, I thought that she was gonna, I don't know, not beg for him back, not ask for him back, but I just thought it was gonna be more like grovelly than it ended up being, which is good. But Noah warned her, just do not hurt my sister. So she's been warned. Otherwise, Noah will be making a reprise. No, that is, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Kenneth Clark, Sharon, Case, and Jordi Villasuso, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, have chemistry. Sorry, Josh, love you, dude. Simone, Nick needs to back off and let it breathe. He does, and if he's gonna try to win her back, like he should give her some space first of all. But if he's gonna try to win her back, doing it the Anchor way is not gonna work. Sorry, but no. Clicks Ambers, Charlene, it isn't so much Nikki and Victoria, but Sharon kept what happened with Mariah and Tessa a secret, and he was angry with her when he found out. Yeah, that's basically what happened, but Noah seemed like he got over it once he talked to Mariah, so hopefully that's the case. Clicks Ambers, law moment, Mariah taking on Phyllis. Yeah, it was so hilarious. Phyllis basically came down, when Phyllis found out that everything came out because of Mariah, which it really wasn't Mariah's fault. Mariah wasn't the one Summer was the one who was gossiping about it. She's the one who was in the wrong. Mariah overheard. What was Mariah gonna do? It wouldn't be go to Phyllis. It would be go to her mom and tell her the truth. So Phyllis shouldn't have been mad at anyone. And Doolaman, it's Dina sending the letters. I'm sorry, but that is now my other law moment. That would be hilarious. And that needs to happen. So if anyone from Y&R is watching this and you are a writer on the show, Doolaman, it's Dina sending the letters. That needs to happen. That would be amazing. I mean, she kind of was a spy. Well, not really. Kind of accidentally. She ended up in the back seat when Abby and Scott were driving. Or no, sorry, I don't think they were together. I think Scott was by himself trying to find Abby, I think. I kind of forget, it's been a while, but Dina ended up in his back seat. So she's a sleuth. So maybe it is her sending the letters. All right, so on that note, with Dina potentially having sent these letters, these threatening letters, thank you all for joining this week's Restless Wrap. We will be back next week, same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until next time, I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Rach Goodman. Also, be sure to go over to our at Restless Wrap Facebook page on Facebook, of course, the Facebook page. Go over there, like and follow, and I always post the links to the show, so you never have to go searching for it. Any comment you leave on there or on the show itself, I will read next time. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next week.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.